Howdy friends, this is Mike. It is the dead of winter here in northern Nevada, and that means that now is the perfect time to be planning your trip to Death Valley. And to help you do that, here are 5 awesome things that you should see on your overlanding tour of Death Valley. If at any point you want to learn more about any of these routes or locations, click down in the description or one of the cards, and there'll be a lot more information and videos on each of these sections. And if you want even more detail, you want a GPS tracks and the waypoints for all of these things, if you want to follow it exactly or just part of it, head over to our Patreon page where patrons of All Terrain Family will have access to the GPS files for this trip. All right, thanks for watching. Let's hit the trail. Number 1, Titus Canyon. Coming from the east side of the park, Titus Canyon Road is the back road or side road into the park. You can access it from the Death Valley Road just west of Beatty, Nevada. It's rugged and exciting, but not particularly technical or remote, so it's a great warm-up for overlanding in Death Valley. From the Death Valley Road, Titus Canyon Road crosses the Amargosa Valley and ascends to Red Pass. The road is one way into the park here, so you don't have to worry about oncoming traffic on this steep shelf road. Once you get over Red Pass, the road descends into the ghost town of Leadfield, where you'll find some ruins of the mine and townsite. This is a good place to stop for lunch and a walk among the derelict structures. As you continue on, the road heads into the wash and enters Titus Canyon. It's slow going as the road meanders through the steep rock walls. There are places to stop off the road and enjoy climbing on the walls out of the box canyon. Just when you think the road will pinch off entirely, it opens up into the wide valley of Mesquite Flat. On this side of the canyon, there's a parking area where visitors can hike up the road into Titus Canyon, but you can't drive into the canyon without going back around to the other end. Titus Canyon ends at the paved North Death Valley Highway, and you can head south into the main part of the park, but I recommend heading north. Number 2, Ubehebe Crater. Ubehebe Crater is one of the northernmost attractions at Death Valley National Park and lies at the end of the paved road. There's plenty of parking, but no services. Ubehebe Crater is a Mar volcano that's 600 feet deep, a half a mile across, and is surrounded by miles of red and black cinders. You can hike into the crater as well as around the perimeter to see views of the surrounding mountains and several other smaller craters. I recommend planning to spend several hours here hiking around if you can. When we were there, we had a napping baby and high winds that got us moving along far too soon. From the Ubehebe Crater parking area, you can access the Racetrack Valley Road. This is where you'll definitely want to air down your tires as the 30-mile trip to Racetrack Valley is extremely rough and washboarded. Number 3, Racetrack Playa. The road into Racetrack Valley is spectacular, and once you leave the Ubehebe Crater area, you're heading off into some of the most remote and rugged areas of the park. There are no services, and from here on you'll be seeing fewer and fewer other travelers. As you travel south from Ubehebe Crater, you head up and over a pass, then descend down into Racetrack Valley. The first thing you come to of interest is Tea Kettle Junction. In the distant past, a tea kettle was hung here from the sign to indicate the presence of a water source nearby. Don't expect to find any water today though. As you proceed down to the south end of the valley, you'll find Homestake Dry Camp with a dozen campsites and no other services. After you set up camp, head back down to Racetrack Playa, home of the mysterious moving stones. As you walk out onto the surface of this flat, dry lake bed, you'll find rocks from the surrounding mountain ranges far out in the middle of the playa, with trails of wake behind them. How did they get here? The world may never know. From Racetrack Playa, there are a number of routes out. The coolest by far is Lippincott Mine Road. Number 4, Lippincott Mine Road. After a gentle rise out of Racetrack Valley, Lippincott Mine Road descends 2,000 feet down to Saline Valley. The road is steep, rocky, and loose, with tight switchbacks and steep drop-offs. Lippincott Mine Road is a serious road that shouldn't be taken lightly. While it's not a technical challenge for most vehicles, taking it slow, in low range, and four-wheel drive is certainly a good idea. You don't want to be going too fast or riding your brakes with consequences like these. There are rough, rocky sections, tight switchbacks, and narrow sections with treacherous washouts that demand your careful attention. Soon enough, the road mellows out as you enter the peaceful Saline Valley below. Lippincott Road heads down into the valley and intersects with Saline Valley Road. From here, head north to Saline Valley Warm Springs. There you'll find campsites and ample weirdness. If you want to avoid that, head up Steel Pass Road, past all that, to Upper Warm Spring, with 2 warm spring pools and 2 palm trees and plenty of space for camping. In the morning, you can head on up the road towards Steel Pass and Dedicara Canyon. Number 5, Dedicara Canyon. Of all the roads described in this video, this one is the most technical and remote. On one end, Saline Valley is remote and hard to get to. On the other end, Eureka Dune is remote and hard to get to. These are 2 of the least visited areas of the park, and this is the hardest way to get from one of them to the other. So take care and be prepared. From Saline Valley, Steel Pass Road heads up the wash and is only sometimes a defined road, and other times is just a riverbed. Nothing here is particularly challenging, but there are plenty of bumps and reasons to be in four-wheel drive. Once you crest Steel Pass, the road backs off a bit before heading into Dedicara Canyon, where things get tight again. The main challenge here is the tight rock canyon with 2 waterfalls and some rocky sections. Our stock 4Runners made it no problem, but smaller and larger vehicles may encounter difficulties with the rock steps and narrow canyon walls. The road can be run from either direction. Here's a stock 4Runner driving it from the other end. You can see he has a little bit of trouble, but he makes it just fine. Heading from Eureka to Saline is definitely more adventurous, but if you aren't sure you can make it, give it a look from this end first. If you can make it past Dedicara, then it's smooth sailing all the way to Saline. Bonus: Eureka Dune. If you have time, Eureka Dune is a great place to camp and explore the dune. Eureka Dune is the tallest sand dune in North America. It rises 680 feet above the valley floor. While surrounded by a dispersed camping area, the dune is off limits to vehicles and there are no services here at all. Definitely stay for a hike on the dune, though this is only really possible in the spring or fall as the heat here can be intolerable in the summertime. In years past, we visited in fall when it was nice and cool and the sand was wet, making it much easier to hike to the top. While Eureka Dune is approachable in non-4-wheel drive vehicles, do be aware that further down the road you go, the deeper the sand gets. We stopped to help out a couple who had bogged their camper in the sand. Using my snatch strap, I was able to yank it out and tow it back onto the packed sand of the road. Bailey's Hot Springs. If you're entering Death Valley from the east, check out Bailey Hot Springs in Beatty, Nevada. While there isn't a lot of tent camping here, there are plenty of trailer, RV, and rooftop tent sites. There are showers and bathrooms and 2 hot spring pools for visitors to soak. When we were there, we spent a lot of time playing with the baby goats at the little farm the owners operate on the property. We could have spent the whole day there for sure.